Luka Doncic's recent injury scare in the Eurobasket exhibition game created immediate waves across the basketball world because of what he represents not only to Slovenia, but also to the NBA as one of the most prominent faces of the league. The incident happened in a way that underscores how fragile even the most elite athletes are when accidents occur in competitive play. During the match, one of Doncic's own teammates accidentally fell into his leg, leaving him with a right knee contusion. What looked at first like a routine collision suddenly turned into an anxious moment for his team, fans, and international media as the Dallas Mavericks star limped off the court. While he managed to walk to the locker room without assistance, the sight of him visibly limping set off alarms about his health status with both his club and his national team. Doncic's participation in Slovenia's Eurobasket opener later this month is uncertain, and that creates both sporting and emotional consequences for his country. Slovenia relies heavily on Doncic not just for his scoring, but also for his leadership and playmaking abilities. His presence elevates the entire team, and his absence would likely leave them at a disadvantage against stronger European rivals. For Slovenian basketball, his involvement in international competitions has become a matter of national pride because he represents a rare global superstar who chose to consistently represent his country despite a demanding NBA schedule. Any injury that jeopardizes that availability carries ramifications far beyond the game itself, tapping into national identity and the expectations of fans who view him as more than just an athlete. From the perspective of the Dallas Mavericks and the NBA at large, this knee contusion raises a different set of concerns. The Mavericks built their entire system around Doncic, who has already established himself as one of the premier offensive engines in basketball history. He controls the tempo of games, creates scoring opportunities for teammates, and can put up remarkable individual performances night after night. A significant injury could alter the trajectory of the team's season, disrupt chemistry, and hinder Dallas's ambitions in an increasingly competitive Western Conference. Even if the contusion turns out to be minor, there remains unease over whether recurring knee issues might develop, especially since players with heavy workloads often face long-term wear and tear. For Doncic personally, the timing of this scare could not be more stressful. He recently signed a massive new contract with the Mavericks, a deal that confirmed his role as the franchise cornerstone for years to come. With such a commitment comes heightened responsibility and pressure, and every injury scare reminds both him and his organization of the risks attached to building around one player. Knee injuries in particular are feared in basketball because of how central joint health is to movement, balance, and explosiveness. Even though early reports suggest he avoided a serious setback, the psychological impact of limping off in pain is never easy for players to shake, especially when competition resumes so soon afterward. The uncertainty around whether he will play in Slovenia's Eurobasket opener adds another layer of complexity. For a player like Doncic who thrives on competition and embraces opportunities to represent his country, sitting out is always a painful decision, yet the calculus may tilt toward caution, particularly with the NBA season approaching in just a couple of months. National team doctors will need to balance his immediate availability against long-term health, while NBA medical staff will likely weigh in to ensure that he does not take unnecessary risks. This tug-of-war between club and country is a recurring theme in international basketball, and when a player of Doncic's magnitude is involved, the stakes are even higher. Fans in Slovenia are caught in the middle of this situation. They desperately want to see their star in action because Doncic playing for the national team has elevated Slovenia into a global basketball brand. At the same time, they are acutely aware that pushing him to play through pain could jeopardize his career and harm their country's chances in the long term. The national conversation reflects that duality, both pride in his commitment to the jersey and fear of what might happen if the injury worsens under competitive strain. Eurobasket is one of the most significant competitions outside of the NBA, and Doncic has historically risen to the occasion, making the potential absence even more disheartening. In the NBA community, this incident fuels ongoing debates about star players participating in international tournaments during the offseason. While many celebrate the cultural and developmental value of these competitions, franchises understandably grow nervous when their best players risk injury in games outside of the league. Doncic is a prime example. His every move on the court directly impacts ticket sales, TV ratings, merchandise, and Dallas's chances of contending. From a purely financial and organizational standpoint, the Mavericks would prefer he sit out to preserve his health for the grueling NBA season, but basketball is not only about economics, and Doncic himself often emphasizes how much wearing the Slovenian jersey means to him personally. For Luka, playing internationally is part of his identity. He grew up watching Slovenia struggle to gain respect in European basketball, and now he embodies the breakthrough his nation always wanted. His performances at past tournaments inspired younger athletes, built a stronger basketball culture, and showed that a small country can produce one of the world's best players. Walking away from that stage because of injury is difficult for him to accept, even if it is the smarter long long-term decision. That inner conflict between love of country and professional responsibility is magnified when a visible injury occurs just days before a major event. Medical professionals looking at the situation will note that a knee contusion, while painful, is generally less severe than ligament or tendon damage. Contusions involve bruising of the bone or soft tissue, and recovery times depend on the intensity of the impact. Some athletes bounce back quickly, while others require extended rest to reduce swelling and restore mobility. The reports suggesting that Doncic avoided a major injury are encouraging, but the fact that he limped visibly indicates that there is significant discomfort, which cannot be ignored in competitive environments where sudden pivots, cuts, and jumps put enormous stress on the joint. Even a minor reduction in mobility can turn an elite playmaker into a liability on defense or an inefficient scorer. Slovenia's coaching staff will be forced to prepare for two scenarios, one in which Doncic plays limited minutes and another where he misses games entirely. Adjusting tactics without him will be incredibly difficult since much of their offensive flow is designed around his ability to collapse defenses and distribute the ball. His absence would require other players to shoulder more scoring responsibility, but no one else on the roster can replicate his blend of creativity and vision. This might also affect team morale, as knowing their best player is sidelined can lower confidence in key matchups. The ripple effects extend beyond Slovenia and Dallas. The NBA as a global brand relies heavily on stars like Doncic to market the game to international audiences. His participation in Eurobasket was a chance to showcase the league's talent on an international stage, drawing more eyes to basketball and building momentum heading into the NBA season. If he is sidelined, the event loses some of its appeal, particularly for casual fans who tune in specifically to watch superstars. This also highlights the delicate balance between maximizing exposure and minimizing risk, an issue the NBA and FIBA have struggled with for years. From a narrative standpoint, Doncic's injury scare reinforces the perception of how fragile success in professional sports can be. One moment of bad luck, a teammate falling awkwardly, can suddenly cast doubt on an entire season's outlook. This vulnerability is what makes the careers of athletes both inspiring and precarious. Fans admire Doncic's resilience, but they also worry about how many more injuries might come as his career advances. Given the heavy load he carries both in Dallas and for Slovenia, questions about durability are inevitable. For the Mavericks, the next few weeks will be spent monitoring his condition closely and ensuring that any decisions made prioritize his long-term availability. They know how costly it would be if he aggravated the injury before training camp. For Slovenia, the focus will be on finding a balance, keeping their superstar engaged while also protecting his health. For Doncic himself, the challenge will be reconciling his competitive spirit with the reality of his body's needs. He has always thrived on being a fighter who plays through adversity, but even he must recognize when rest is the better option. This moment may ultimately serve as a wake-up call about workload management. The NBA has already embraced the concept of load management for superstars to preserve them for the playoffs, but international play complicates that strategy. Doncic has shown he can carry heavy burdens, yet the human body has limits. Perhaps this injury scare, though minor, will push both his national team and the Mavericks to collaborate more effectively on managing his health year-round. In the broader scope of his career, how Doncic navigates this situation will influence his reputation. If he rushes back and risks worsening the injury, critics may question his judgment or his advisor's caution. If he chooses to sit out and Slovenia struggles, some fans may feel disappointed, yet most observers will likely recognize that protecting his knee is the wisest path. The reality is that he is entering his prime, and the basketball world wants him at his best for many more years to come. Ultimately, the right knee contusion may not define Doncic's career, but the response to it could. It underscores the constant tension between ambition and sustainability, between immediate competition and long-term legacy. For Luka Doncic, every decision in the coming days will be scrutinized not only because of what he means to Slovenia, but because of the immense role he plays in the NBA's future. This injury scare may turn out to be a minor bump in the road, yet it illustrates the fragile balance that every superstar must maintain in a career defined by both brilliance and vulnerability.